Hi, would you like to connect with Circe? Circe will be number 28 in my series called Practicing with Energy. It's an interactive series where you decide which energies you'd like to practice with. And for those who are new to my page or just this series, hello, I'm Nicole, an astral coach and also an interactive artist. Whether I'm making art or whether I am coaching, I'm always helping you to find out more about your energy and the energy around you and how you can keep that up on your own. Every time I meditate with these energies, they always have something new to help you with, but also they think that they need to sometimes tell their story to help with helping you. A lot of the stuff I work on and share has to do with how we kind of already, we know these things, but we just need to kind of know the possibilities and recognize the things that we already have so that we can start utilizing those things we already have. And the energy of Circe is very big on this. It was one of the reasons why the goddess job role exists to begin with. So we'll start with the story of Odysseus, who the Romans and a lot of the West calls Ulysses. So because this is a work of literature, a lot of depth is put into this book. But from a spiritual perspective, and for the sake of Circe, we're going to talk about the parts of this literature that explain a bit about portals. And there's so many different ones, and I will cover them on my Patreon, but we're going to talk about the one that Circe is, Circe because of this portal. So she says you can think of Odysseus and the story of Odysseus as a little look through the eyes of a certain time period, because she says that we're going to talk in time periods because it's the only way it makes sense, because this is already an out there kind of thing to think about and not something people talk about all the time. So we're not going to go to it's actually not a timeline. It's still happening and beings are still going to that dimension, but we're going to take a break from that way of thinking just for a second, and it will be like, historical vibes. So you can think of just like how physical reality is a representation of something that's not physical, right? The story can be looked at like that. It can be looked at like a representation of things that humans were going through. So quickly, I'm going to talk about the portals again. You can think of it like a Venn diagram where there's a circle here and a circle here, and the overlapping part of the realm, not realm, but portal situation, has both the energy where the beings are elsewhere mixed with the energy of Earth. And they call these, some of them learning portals, and this is one of the learning portals. And portals are not, when I'm talking about portals, I'm not talking about doors, because doors are a different thing, but it's a way of nature that we have not explored yet. It has to do with our knowledge and our expansion, and it is something that people have obviously experienced, but they don't know a name for it. For now, they've been calling it portals, but eventually I'm going to have to rename it because people think of portals as the doorways. And the reason why they're not realms is because they are an overlay of another place. So let's say we'll talk about a planet that might not be a planet, but let's say another planet and then our planet, and it's overlaid. So it overlaps like I said, like the Venn diagram, and whatever the things that are happening on Earth at the moment, the space of Earth, like how much energy can come to Earth, and also the other beings, what they bring. And so it meets halfway. As you can see, this is a great opportunity for beings to be able to teach by example. So they're living their lives, and the energy's in the air, and it could teach by example. There are some other portals that happened in other locations that were basically not for helping. Like they were for their own thing that they need to do, but they always have to do something to give back. And there's a lot of stories with that, but this is not Circe's story. So some of the beings, when they come to that portal, or when they're participating in that portal situation, they have to use their avatars. And avatars are another thing that we won't go through because it's not part of Circe's story. Or they materialize and have a translation that matches half of their vibration and half the earth vibration. And so that's why we have a lot of weird things going on in a lot of, there's other explanations too, but this is one of the reasons why some of the beings are really big or they're weird looking and things like that, is because it's the way that, you know, they're kind of creating an avatar, if that makes sense. But avatars are meant to be used for certain things. So in this case, they're not really avatars, but they're like temporary for that realm. And this is because some of these beings that want to participate, they are so huge, they would take over the whole earth. They could not communicate with a human or live human-like. It's not possible. So back to Odysseus and those stories. So a lot of the storylines that happen are based on stories that have happened, but they're not those characters. Those characters are made to kind of like, you know, do a whole theme and write a book, right? But the stories come from things that have happened. So the original energy of Circe is basically an energy that wanted to come to Earth, just like I said, that needs to go through those things. And she came to, in this particular, the storyline, to help with certain things that humans needed help with. And in this case, when you want to help and you're not creating things or taking products or things like that, you are basically existing on your own until someone comes to you, right? She picked this. This is actually before I even saw this artwork. She was showing me visuals like this, where she's alone on this island and working on these things that she's going to, and preparing to teach the humans that get drawn or pulled towards her island for a reason. And because of those portal things, she can't leave there because of how big her energy is and because of the things that she's going to teach are there. And it's funny because the painter actually was painting this as a girl that was a rival in one of the stories, and how she wanted to get her back with not get her back, but get rid of her or whatever and transform her into a beast. And the reason why they put that is because in this time period, they were trying to find all the powerful women's stories and do this kind of stuff. And it's funny, but that's what they did. It's their POV. But anyway, actually, on accident, they made it look like what it would look like, where these women, or not just women, men as well, would be drawn to the island and come and be like, okay, why am I here? Or they would crash into the island or something like that. There'd be all these reasons why they came to the island, and she'd start teaching them. Her specialty was teaching people to learn how to read energy, nature, and people. The stories where she transforms people into things that can mean many different things because it is literature, but if we want to use it to explain her story, it's basically showing people who they truly are at that moment. So if someone is channeling something at the moment and they have no idea they're channeling, which is a lot of people at the moment right now, they would be sitting there and we don't see it as humans if we're not sensitive. We'll just see them as the person doing a job, right? They'll start working on something like trimming a tree or doing some gardening or something like that. But someone who's sensitive would start seeing them as whatever being they're channeling in their energy or elsewhere. And so this kind of stuff, you can see all those times that happened was because of that. It's showing the true essence of what they are in that moment. I'm also doing something that is just like this, so it's really cute that the timing of this. I'm doing this with the collages about people's seasonal changes and energies, but in this case, this is us just living our life, doing anything. If we get passionate about something and start chatting with someone about something, it could be this as well. A lot of what she taught was through what we think is medicine or magic, but actually what it is getting to certain vibrations by mixing together different properties. Some things didn't end up working because it was from this portal area, but she did let those people know, but they forgot because, they tried to make it themselves and they used those things as crutches. They don't need to do that. She was showing that as an example of what they could do. She says that sometimes this is why in different climates, food and objects are not the same. Like they have different properties, different tastes. If you'd like to know more or develop a deeper connection, please book a session with me. If you'd like to do it in a group of 4, please sign up for the lab classes. Like and follow for more.